Hi and welcome to this episode. My name is Saro and I'm a 2100 FIDE rated chess coach. In this video I want to present you one of the games of a former student of mine who found a very nice tactics in the middle game to win the game, so make sure to stay until the end to learn something very interesting about chess tactics. White opens the game with first knight f3 and is, according to my student, a rather young, I believe 12-year-old kid, rated around 1400 back then, but now around 1700. My student playing the black pieces is rated around 1800, so a pretty strong player. And I was surprised by the very first move of black here, because I knew my student is usually not playing the Sicilian. Well, technically speaking, this is not a Sicilian, but after the move e4, it's a transposition, and this is exactly what happened. So my student decided to play the move e6, and now white could play the most popular move here, d4, and go into an open Sicilian, where black can choose which kind of Sicilian he actually wants to play. Maybe a Paulsen, maybe a Taimanov, who knows. Let's go back. Instead, white has another move, and this is d3. White has many moves, but d3 is one of the main moves here. Just for clarification. So, what is the purpose of d3? Well, believe it or not, d3 is trying to prevent the exchange of queens, because after the move, the very logical move d5, now white can play knight b to d2, and white is trying to play a King's Indian setup. So after knight to c6, white goes g3. And it's a King's Indian reversed, therefore this is called the King's Indian attack. But let's step back for a moment and ask us the following question. Why did white not go g3 immediately? Well, as I mentioned, white wants a King's Indian position, and after d5, now white is basically forced to take in the center, and black takes back. Because if white tried to defend with d3, then of course black is very happy to exchange in the center and exchange the queens, getting rid of the most dangerous piece. And it's not clear to me how white wants to gain anything from this setup or with this setup. So let's go back. So d3 played, and we went into this so-called King's Indian setup. The King's Indian is basically this pawn structure with h2, g3, f2, and d3. e4 is a possibility, but can also be held back for some time. And actually the reason for my mistake right now, I said e5 instead of e4, is that this setup is usually played by black against first d4. And it has not the most solid reputation, but if you want to play fighting chess, it's one of the most popular choices. Let's put it this way. So in this game, black continued with knight to f6 and then followed bishop to g2, and black continues development with bishop e7, a very natural move. White castles, black castles, and white puts the rook on e1, trying to support this pawn push. b5 played. So as you can see, white is trying to play on this side, on this side, while black is more trying to play on this side, on the queen side. So king side versus queen side, while at the same time both players want to fight for influence in the center, obviously. So here black plays e5, driving away this knight, knight to d7, and now the pawn is twice attacked, but as you can see, it's also twice defended because the rook on e1 defends it the second time, and this was the purpose of rook to e1. Now white has a very standard plan. This includes, of course, the move rook to e1, so white can go knight f1. Usually black goes a5 here, and a very popular setup would be h4, bishop a6, and so on, for example like this, and the position is around equal. And as you can see, white is really trying to attack the king. My student, however, chose another setup, and this is knight to b6. To be honest, when I looked into this game, I didn't know that knight to b6 was actually a move. It's not a very popular one, but it's one which was played by stronger players, so probably a good choice. So h4 played, white continues his standard plan. Of course, he wants to put the knight on h2, push the h-pawn, then play knight to g4, trying to attack on the king side. My student, playing the black pieces here, made a mistake. A normal move would be something like f6. However, he played knight to d4, and now white can just take, black takes back, and after queen to g4, it's very hard to imagine how black is going to save the pawn. Still, black can fight. He has very little compensation for the lost pawn, or for the pawn which is going to be lost in a moment, but it's not so clear, as you will see in a few moments. So f5 played, queen takes d4, white is a pawn up, yet queen to c7, maybe setting up something like bishop c5. White more or less ignores this, plays c3, because he can ignore it for the moment. Bishop to d7 played, and now white commits a mistake here, bishop to e3. And now the question is what black should do, and the answer is pretty simple. Prepare bishop c5. So black plays knight to a4, delivering or enabling more coverage for the c5 square, so the bishop can actually go there. And now white has a very complicated way of maintaining an equal position by playing c4, because now white would get some counterplay. However, in the game, rook a to b1 was played to defend this pawn, which was attacked by the knight, but this was not the purpose of this knight move. So here's the thing. Black would love to trap the queen with something like bishop to c5, but then queen to f4 would rescue the queen. So now it is your turn. Which move would you play here? I will give you 10 seconds. Try to figure out how you can prevent the queen from moving to f4, or maybe pause the video and then continue watching if you came to a conclusion or want to see the solution. So the move which forced the resignation of white was f4. This is attacking the bishop on e3, also g3, but this is less interesting, but also depriving the queen of the only square where it could flee after the move, bishop to c5. So after, let's say, bishop takes f4, bishop c5, the queen of white is just lost. So to summarize, the opening didn't go so well for the black player. The white player clearly knew what he was doing when he reached this position. So queen to g4, winning a pawn. But after that, white didn't play very accurately and managed to flip the tables and enable black to play this beautiful combination of f4 and then bishop to c5. Well, if white hadn't resigned after f4. So now let me know what you think about this game. I hope you liked it. If you did so, feel free to like this video and subscribe the channel. See you in the next episode.